Important to remember that those are not just numbers. Those are real people in our communities who have been affected by COVID-19. Tonight, you'll meet 2 of the 63 people who have died from the coronavirus in our area, Bill and Reba Hunter. Jackie Kingston shares their story.
Bill Hunter is like many of the greatest generation who went to work at 8 years old to take care of his mom and his siblings. He told his mom at 14 that she was signing forms so he could go to work in the next county over, but it was actually his enlistment papers. A few months later, his brother came home from the movies and said he'd seen Bill that day on the newsreel they played before the movie. To the surprise of his family, 14-year-old Bill Hunter was fighting in the Battle of Iwo Jima. He was escorted back stateside promptly after that. Bill then went to work breaking horses in New Mexico before enlisting again and going through boot camp again and going to war in Korea. Meanwhile, Reba Sursa was perfecting how to be a great wife, mother, friend, and eventually grandmother. She got married, she had 2 children, Lillian and Seth, and with her first husband who passed away from wounds he'd received in the war. Reba was 24 and a widow, but she had grit, and she did whatever it took to keep her land, her house, and to make a great life for her kids. As fate would have it, one day, that meant a trip to the movies at the Lyric Theater in Spearman, where Bill, now a telephone technician, spotted Reba and knew it could be love. Reba was less sure. Their daughter Lillian picks up the story from there.
He came out to put a telephone in our house, and we had 2 big Airedale dogs, and he was deathly afraid of dogs.
Oh, no.
And she just sticked them on him, and one went on one side of his pickup and the other one on the other side, and he couldn't get out of his pickup. And she was standing at the door with a butcher knife. And she just, and of course, after a little bit, she just started laughing. So she called the dogs off, and he came in, put in the phone. He wanted to go out with her, and she wouldn't go. So he kept coming, finding reasons to come down and fix the phones. And he would not ask her out on a date. He would ask my brother and I if we wanted to go to dinner, if we wanted to go to the movies.
They were married on June 16th, 1961. Lillian says they made a house where the door was always open. Everyone was welcome, and everyone made themselves at home.
We would wake up in the morning, and we never knew how many of my cousins that were teenagers were going to be in our house.
Over the years, Bill and Reba became not just parents, but grandpa and grandma to many kids in their community.
Grandma and grandpa, that's all they ever called them. They said, Grandma and grandpa, we're having a ball game. And they said, we'll be there. We'll be there up until, they couldn't travel anymore, which was just like within the last 6 months.
Then on April 28th, Bill fell. He was taken to the hospital in Amarillo, where he tested positive for the coronavirus 2 days later. On Friday, Reba went to get a COVID test. It was positive, and she was admitted to the same hospital as Bill. The next day, they passed away together.
The nurses told me that the only time that they weren't holding hands was when they had to be working on one or the other of them. But then they'd push their beds back together, and they'd automatically reach for, my mother would reach for his hand, and he would grab hers. And they were holding hands when they passed away, and they pretty much literally took their last breath together.
They died May 2nd, about a month shy of their 58th wedding anniversary. But their love story continues on. Their friends and neighbors, unable to grieve together because of safe distancing, reached out to Lillian to express their love for the Hunters.
We loved your folks so much. All the laughs and hugs, the loves and prayers we shared over the last 30-some years, that'll live in our hearts forever.
Bill and Reba were an amazing, loving, and above all, Christian couple. They judged no one and welcomed their home to everyone. We will miss them.
Bill and Reba were also dedicated volunteers. Bill led a Boy Scout troop for 25 years. Reba was a member of the Red Hats and volunteered for Meals on Wheels. People who have stories to tell about Bill and Reba or just want to show their support can do so on the Funerals Home website. They were buried a week ago today. We have that link and more about the Hunters on our website, myhighplains.com.